All right, welcome back to episode 59 of Wrestling News. We're kind of going to do a state of the program episode. It's good having you back, Coach Sell. We've missed you the past couple episodes.
Back in the saddle, man. Back in the seat here. So
As always,
it's a long vacation. That was a long vacation.
Yeah. As always, we're here with head coach Nate Yetzer and associate head wrestling coach Blake Rosenbaum with the IT support back there.
Yeah, buddy.
We're going to cover tonight. We're going to have a graduation recap. Roanoke College graduated their first full class, or Roanoke College Wrestling graduated their first full class this year. So a ton of guys. We're going to touch real quickly on kind of how recruiting is going so far. Then we're going to talk about our U23 guys, so freestyle and Greco, mainly freestyle for these college guys. We're going to talk about the an RTC update. We had the Wawa State Wrestling Championships for freestyle and Greco this past weekend. And then we're going to touch on a few highlights for schedule next year, the 2025-2026 wrestling schedule. And then we're going to finish off with some talk about some summer camps. So
Yeah.
I guess biggest thing we want to jump into right away is graduation.
Yeah.
I mean, 18 guys?
18 seniors. Yeah, it was really 19 with Mac. Not Morello. Mac, but Mac's going back next year. So, but yeah, it was
last weekend.
It's a long weekend. The long weekend is very sad. Sometimes it's at some point sad weekend, but that those guys finished when they started, and couldn't be more proud of that class. It was a pretty special class. So we're gonna miss those guys.
Any of the guys getting jobs around the area going to still be?
Yeah, we have quite a few actually. Andrew Boyd has got a job with New Millennium Steel. He's gonna be doing sales for them. Sam Francis, same company. He's gonna be on the engineering side. We got David Reed who's working for First Call Parts. With Steve Bush, who was a big supporter of our program, and his son Derek Bush is in our club. And I know I'm missing some more. Brady Ellswick's sticking around. He's going to try to be a firefighter in the area and kind of bounce around a couple different things until he gets that opportunity. And Lucas Day is going to stick around. He's getting married this summer, and his wife, soon-to-be wife, is a teacher in this area. So, yeah, we got a bunch of guys. Johnny Moshman, he graduated a couple years ago for us, is a cop in Salem. Lives right down the road. And Johnny, you're watching, and give us a call. We never hear from you. So, but yeah, it's pretty happy those guys are sticking around. There's a lot of fun guys. I'm looking forward to a lot of years.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah, Joe Jackson. That's right. Yeah, I forgot Joe Jackson.
Florida native.
Yeah, he's
working at Cat.
He got himself a Southern girl, and he's sticking around. He's working at Carter. So yeah, I'm really proud of those guys.
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked about this class from day one.
Yeah.
I mean, just talking
Had a bunch
about,
of them on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's got to be bittersweet just saying goodbye to them, and but all that they've accomplished for the program.
Yeah.
So
I mean, every class kind of hard to say goodbye to, but this one just because they really bought it from day one, and kind of obviously built the program around them. So it's gonna be a strange year without them next year, to be honest with you. So I'm excited to turn the page and keep going on, and hopefully they know that we'll always be here for them, and Roanoke College will always be here for them. So,
did you guys dodge the rain? I know graduation was in the morning.
A little bit, like early on.
Yeah.
We went, Josh Epperly, we were at his house, and he had a little graduation party, and we got poured on a little bit.
Yeah.
We got to see where they live too. That was kind of cool. We had to actually go into their house, and a little scary. It reminded me of my first coach job was in Binghamton, City of Binghamton, and I lived in a studio apartment. I remember the front door, it was above a bar. Bars don't close at 3 a.m. in New York. So it was like, I remember just hearing music all the time, up to like 3 or 4 in the morning. But the front door actually had a big metal plate around it because it'd been kicked in so many times. And it was pretty bad. That's all I could afford. I was living with the Roby family for a little while up there for about 6 months, and it just got to the point where it's like, I think it was mutual. Like, there's a guy, you can't get it man. But yeah, so I actually tried to hide it from Tony for a long time. But finally one day after work, he's like, hey, let's go check your place out. And I was like, I'm kind of busy. He's like, now we're going to check it out. And I remember he walked in, and he's like, this is really nice. What's going on in here? So good times. But yeah, I got to see that side of things. It was kind of fun to see that. Yeah.
You mentioned, Max coming back. He got hurt at the beginning of last year. But is he? I mean, I'm assuming he's healthy, ready to go.
He is. He's been at it. He's getting ready to go for the Northeast Regionals this weekend, and then And 2 weeks after that, go to the U23 national championships, which he's been close several times. I believe he lost blood round the first year he went. And the last year lost 2 rounds to play. So, but this is the best he's ever looked coming in. So I'm excited for him.
Is he still looking to be at 125 next year?
Yeah, he'll definitely be at 125. I think there's no question. And it'll be a little tougher the years past just because he has his body's changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking really, really good. So I'm excited to see him. This weekend and then in 2 weeks as well too. I think he's been out. He hasn't wrestled in over a year now. So, but he's like the best he's ever looked. So,
Speaking of turning the page, so you got, I mean, those guys graduate. Now the next one comes in.
Big old blast, yeah.
So you got 25 coming.
Yeah, I mean the goal is never to replace 18. I mean, in fact, a lot of recruits got camp feel like, we only need like 9. 8 or 9, but it's honestly when you recruit, you always have a backup plan, and then you have a backup to the backup plan, right? Just to make sure. But I think the great thing about Roanoke College is that it's a great school academically. It's a fun school. It's a really pretty school. So I think a lot of kids. I guess we probably underestimate like how much kids like it there, and a lot of kids are like, I think they're willing to like, hey, take a chance, and like, hey, I may not start there until my junior year, and it's worth it because it's great education, and I'll be part of something bigger than myself, which is the wrestling program. And so it's honestly it's been, I wouldn't say the recruiting has not been hard. I mean, and obviously I kind of wrap up the deals, but Blake and Colin have done a phenomenal job. Not to discount what they've done; they did a phenomenal job recruiting, but. I just think I think people feel like we have something special going, so it's makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So
talk a little bit about how recruiting for you guys at Roanoke College has changed from day one to whatever day we're on now. Like over the 4 years, how has it changed? Like the type of guys you're going after, or kind of the certain clubs that you're trying to go after. From building a program to a program that's built, now it's just expanding it, making it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I think it's definitely shifted toward. Right, early on we had to sell a vision, like what we see this program could be. Now we have proof, right, and like a proof of concept, right. So like Mark Samuel, national champion, it can be done here, right. So, and I think as from a standpoint, we don't have to take as many risks now. Like we can actually do research on a guy, really really like him. If he's not a good fit culturally, or he's not a good fit academically. Not a good fit financially, then we can just move on to the next guy. We're pretty confident in the guys we can go out and get. But this class got coming in, if you look at just pure ability, this is the best class by far I've ever brought in. And now that we've had success, now we can go after those guys with more than just a vision. We have proof, right? So it's definitely changed quite a bit in that sense. So, but we're still trying to get guys that fit fit what we're trying to do, and really want to buy anything we're doing. And it takes work, but a lot of kids reach out to us now. To be honest with you, I feel like you don't have to really go cold call them, right? I think when you have a really good product, people will come to you, right? And I think it's what's happened in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like talk about. I know you kind of head up like out of Virginia recruiting. Talk about how recruiting to a school like Roanoke, not extremely well known. Especially a couple of years ago, it's becoming more well known. But trying to like get guys from other states, how do you how has that changed over the past couple of years?
Yeah. Well, luckily, Virginia in general is a pretty beautiful state as far as we kind of get all 4 seasons. Just kind of something we always mention. It's you get a guy from Florida, like it does get cold up here. You get a guy from New York, hey, it does get warm down here. So you kind of like pitch that as well as like, hey, you're going to get to see all 4. A lot of people have been obviously to Virginia Beach, which I always tell them it's way different, but it's still weather-wise a lot the same, and there's just so much around, really the Roanoke Valley is kind of growing every year and getting bigger with, all the outside stuff, the mountain biking stuff, so it's constantly, there's more to sell with it. We always try, especially guys that are big recruits, they come in, they go downtown a little bit, see the Star, maybe Jack Brown's, kind of see different things that there is outside of wrestling, because we always talk about it like, wrestling is great. And I think a lot of people think that college wrestling's 2 a days, every day, 5 days a week, whatever, but it's really not. We wrestle most of our practice are an hour and a half, maybe, then if you had a day we have stuff to lift, 45 minutes to an hour, so in total, you might have a total of 3 hours of practice in a day, and so then you go to school for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. There's still a lot of time left in the day to also have just a time by yourself, maybe go out and have some fun with your friends and be a normal college student, and so that's luckily where we're at. It's a good sell for that. I mean, we're literally across the street from downtown Salem, which is all locally owned businesses, great restaurants, food, barbershop, breweries, all that kind of stuff to where, you can get, a lot of times we get guys here that's the selling part, and I will say, I think what's helped a lot with our general Roanoke, the Roanoke Valley or the New River Valley, I guess you kind of say, is obviously Virginia Tech. I mean, they're kind of growing as we grow. It's kind of funny, like we're both going hand in hand. They get a big recruit, we get a big recruit, and I think it just helps people see like, oh, there's something special going on in the, kind of the New River Valley, people want to be a part of. And it's with wrestling in general, so it's something we try to sell a lot of, like, hey, there's, we've got this going on, they've got that, people know kind of the area because of it. Luckily we were able to have like Southeast Open, we had VAWA, the youth states this year. So there's a lot of people that have been on campus for something, which is huge as well. So
Coach, talk about, if maybe recruits out there, like what are you looking in a recruit other than wrestling? Does that, academics come into play?
100%.
Yeah, academic. Well, so there's almost a screening process before you even waste time. I try to do kind of a screening process before I even okay, Blake, call this kid, or Colin, call this kid. And some kids I'll just call first. I mean, if I have time and I feel like it's important enough or still kind of questionable, I'll call them. You know what I mean? I think the academic piece of things, like we got to make sure they can get in school, A, and then B, really even more than that, is that can they make it academically? It's a hard school academically, you're challenged. I'm always pretty upfront about that. The school does a pretty good job. They provide us with a GPA. They have it kind of down to a science where they can let us know based on high school grades in core classes, school district, a couple other different factors where they'll be able to tell you what they think this student will get his first year of college. They're actually it's pretty on point.
That's
what I mean?
amazing.
So yeah. So and then you could look at that like, all right, so is this kid good? Like if it's low or lower on the lower end, like, okay, is this kid good enough to where we want to pour time and resources into him to make sure he makes it, right? So obviously this is telling us, the GPA is telling us that it's going to be tough for him. You know what I mean? And or if it's a kid that that we don't feel like will help move the needle in wrestling, because all the factors matter, then maybe we stay off that kid, right? So and then there's the financial side of things. If it's all on the kid to pay for school, it's probably not feasible for him. You have to have some support from your family and community in order to make it financially as well too. In a lot of cases, not every case, but a lot of cases. So, and then there's some other things we dive into, like really when you get them on campus. It's kind of after the fact, after we talk to them, recruit them. During the recruiting process, we'll call on them if we feel like, hey, I don't know if this is really a good fit, right? You get a feel. If it's not, then we move on, right? And then you get them on campus, and sometimes after you get them on campus, you're like, okay, the guys on our team might come to us and be like, hey, you don't want that guy. You know what I mean? Or hey, you feel like, is that a good fit for us? Sometimes the kid will actually be on campus and feel like it's not a good fit for him. So it kind of works out, either way. So, but I think every kid's journey kind of through that process is different, I mean, we've been pretty lucky, pretty fortunate that I think we haven't really wasted a lot of time on kids that we feel like are a good fit for us. It's worked out really well, actually. So
we obviously have a niche too. There's a Roanoke kid, but I also think there's a Roanoke kid, but there's also a kind of Nate, Blake, and Colin kid, right? That may be a little different. I mean, all of us, Colin included, kind of parents are blue collar. We grew up from blue collar families, so sometimes those are kids attract to us real well. We can know like, okay, hey, this guy reminds me a lot of myself, to where he'll be all right. He'll make it, and then there's a kid that just full on, like a Kyle Lee, and Kyle Lee, he's a Roanoke kid, full on. You can tell. I mean, the school will compare him to that as well. So there's different kinds of guys that you get. And, just how can coach as well. There's guys that we've had that, maybe didn't do very well here. They've transferred somewhere else and they've done really well. It's just, well, maybe we weren't as a staff.
Yeah.
Because we've kind of learned that as well. Like, hey, this guy will fit in well with us as a staff. To get him. Obviously, our job is development. And Division III, there's a lot of that. So you got to figure out. But you only got 4 years to do it. And you really don't want to just do it their senior year. You want to hopefully clicks at least their sophomore year and that kind of stuff. So you get that. Hey, we can work well with this kid. He's a good kid for us.
Well, I mean, it's kudos to you guys. I mean, because Division I, like who the good guys are, right? Like, and you go get those good guys, and you guys have to find those guys that are, they might be a state champ, they might be a runner-up, they may have lost that semifinal match, what I mean? But they can come back and contribute to the program.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, the development side of things is very different. I can tell you when I was at Virginia Tech here, I think Division I is a lot of little minor adjustments. You know what I mean? And a lot of it, honestly, is off the mat. Like, why this kid's very successful. Why hasn't he been able to get over that hump, right? Maybe he's a 3-time champ or whatever. And as a coach, you try to figure out it's because of this. Like, he just doesn't manage his weight the right way or this. I think in Division III, a lot of times there's a lot of factors on why he hasn't been very good in high school, right? Or really, really ultra successful. I think so. I do think you have more of a role to play in development. I mean, Division I coaches may argue that against me. I don't know, but for me, I feel like you have more of a role to play in their development. In Division III, because and a lot of them are a lot more receptive to it. To be honest with you, you think about a kid who's the best kid on his team, best kid in the state, one of the best in the country, right? In a lot of ways, he probably is not. I mean, I think the really, really good ones are very open-minded, but I think there's a lot of those kids who kind of like, hey, this is the way I've always done it. I've always won. I mean, they're not maybe willing to change. I will say in Division III, I feel like kids way more kids are willing to change. You know what I mean? Because they want to be successful, and maybe they just weren't a good program or whatever. Explain it to them.
right. Yeah. Right.
You don't eat Bojangles off the lands.
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of that.
Well, you would be surprised, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm not anymore. I'm not surprised anymore. But early on, I was. Yeah. I remember, my first year at Ferrum, I was shocked. They didn't know some of the things they were supposed to know. But then you look at it okay, it was from this area that no success, no track record of success at the high school level, right? So why? There's freaks out there. Obviously, you can do what they want and stuff, and still be successful. But most of us have to, eat right, do all the right stuff. But it's nothing shocks me anymore. So
you look even like a guy like Markey, right? Obviously he's national champ. The biggest difference from probably the region tournament to the national tournament was diet and man. I mean, Colin was literally on him at all seconds at nationals. Eat this, drink this, eat that, and that little change and Markey eats healthy overall, but still it was sometimes he'd be like, I haven't really had any water today. It's what are you doing? You sit and think about it, but for the same thing in high school, 105 and 5, it probably sometimes didn't really matter that much because you're beating kids. So you have a guy
arguably the top 3 pound for pound guy in Division III.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who
literally Colin was drink this, eat this, drink, every hour, we need to give him this, and you just little things like that to where it obviously worked.
But
so
he's coachable. So I think that's one thing that set him apart.
Yeah.
And he wants to. We have a lot of guys that want to win. They gotta learn that part of it. And you hope they learn it before 4 years is up. You know what I mean? So
100%.
I think we're getting ready to head to a commercial, and then when we get back, we'll talk about U23s.
Yeah,
sounds good.
I was like, good gracious, ass bodacious, flirtatious, trying to show patience. I'm waiting for the right time to shoot my steam, waiting for the right time to flash them keys, and I'm leaving, please believe in, me and the rest of my heathens, checking out a lock at the top of the Four Seasons, penthouse, rooftop.
Welcome back to episode 59 of Noke Wrestling News. Here with Coach Sell. We just finished recapping kind of graduation, kind of end of the year activities at Roanoke College. Talked a little bit about
a little insight into recruiting.
Yeah, that was really good insight into recruiting, kind of how the college college coaches think and what they're looking for. We name dropped that, or we dropped that, about 25 guys, new guys will be coming on next year. We're going to do a full episode dedicated to
diving into each kind of the recruits and so forth a little bit later on. So.
But now we got to talk about our U23 guys. So this weekend, I believe you guys are headed up to
Poconos, Pennsylvania.
Okay, for the Northeast Regional.
Yeah,
that's where I was married, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll leave on Thursday. We got to work out here. Leave about 6-hour drive. Go up there, work out, and then Friday is the Northeast Regional. So they have the Southeast obviously next weekend, and the Northeast. Northeast one they do offer like a U23. Southeast doesn't. So we're going to go to U20 or Northeast to get some kind of a test run. The years past we've went to U23s kind of. All right, hey, we're going. Who's going? And this year we've changed a lot of things with our really freestyle in general. Guys that are committing to freestyle are going to. They've been here since school ended, and even since then, training 3 days a week, conditioning, lifting. Like it's a whole nother season. And obviously that got a couple guys turned away, but the guys we know here we've got that are cutting the weight and doing all that stuff. This will be a good run. Like, okay, I cut my weight like this. How did I feel? Terrible or really good, and then also just to get their weight down a little bit to where then in 2 weeks we go to U23s where we're used to it,
So to highlight a few of the guys that are going, so Vinny, Marky, Isaac, Cam, and
those guys are not going. So those guys are going to U23s. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
yeah, Northeast. Yeah, so this weekend we got probably I think we got 9 guys going.
Okay.
A couple guys that like Marky and those guys are probably. Obviously, he just wrestled not too long ago, so he's taking a little break, him and Isaac. But, we'll take up there going with us. We got Bailey Willman, Elijah Smoot, Jake Yao, Jonah Paulino, Jude Robeson, Kyle Lee, Matt Caffarello, Mike Policarpio, and Nick Cook.
Okay.
So good to see. Also, obviously, Jude and Mac are both back. This is their first time in about a year competing. So it's exciting to see them. And, it should be a fun crew going up there.
And so the following week is U23s?
2 weeks after that. Yeah, the very last weekend of May.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one's a 2-day one too as well. So again, this is more just a test run to see. I mean, last year I know 2 people in mind is Mac and Xavier. They both lost matches that it was full on weight cut. It was not they guys are better than us. We just kind of ran out of steam, and then we had to wrestle the backside. They both I think lost pretty close to the blood round. So kind of avoid that. And then some guys too, like I know. Some of our guys are like Kyle Lee, still very new to freestyle, so this is a good test. Like, okay, hey, we need it. We went out there, you did this on your leg lace. That's not how you do it, or that's how you do it. Let's add to it, So it's more of a test run instead of hey, U23s, you lost. Here's what you should have done.
Is this the first?
We'll see you next year.
Is this the first live competition in freestyle?
Yes.
For
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
of the year?
Really, there's like 3 weekends. Really, there's U.S. Open weekend, which you have the World Team Trials for the guys that qualify for that.
Yeah.
U20s.
Yeah.
And then you have the senior level, right? U.S. Open. For us, unfortunately, it falls on finals week. The last 4 years, it falls around on finals week. And finals week, obviously, is a big deal, right? So like we don't want to mess. Not only just because it's that weekend, but also leading up to that, you really have to be training hard and fine tuning things. And sometimes it's hard that time of year because guys are starting to finish final projects. Getting ready for their finals, turn last minute paperwork stuff in and all that kind of stuff. So it's just really hard. So then you have 2 weeks after that, you Northeast Regionals, and 2 weeks after that, U23s, right? So, so we kind of focused. Years past, we always focused all of our attention on U23s, but for the reason that Blake said, we're gonna wrestle Northeast Regionals, get some bugs, work some bugs out. And here we go. So this is the most committed we've been to our RTC U23 program that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Resource wise and time and so really proud of these guys for putting the time in.
So this is all divisions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So any division can compete. I mean, is it open? So I guess it's.
Yeah, so they have a U20, obviously,
Yeah.
and then they have U23. Now, U20, you have to qualify at the U.S. Open to wrestle.
Yeah.
So, even like Smoot, Smoot's like 19, 18, 19, but he'll still wrestle U23 because he didn't go to the U.S. Open to qualify. Yeah, so, but yeah, you'll see every NAI, D3, D2, D1, all of them there. Yeah, a couple high schoolers as well. It's open to high school as well that I know we wrestled 4 or 5 of them last year.
Yeah, it's pretty stacked. It's pretty.
Yeah,
Some of the best guys in the country. It's really good. So
yeah, it's fun. It's always one of my favorite ones because again, we get to see. It's kind of like it's funny because obviously we start the year with Southeast Open, which is almost all Division 1, maybe 1 or 2 NAIA, 1 or 2 D2, and then kind of we end the year with the U23. So we can see where those guys are at, how much they improve. I know last year Marky wrestled a kid from Maryland, I think it was, at Southeast Open, beat him there. Loses to him in freestyle, so just kind of see the style. But Marky's still very new to freestyle. There's some things he didn't know either, So it's cool to see that difference of where we're at and the different style matchups.
And let's talk a little bit about. So this past weekend, still on RTC, just the high school portion. Wawa State Championships down at Heritage High School in Lynchburg. Took quite a big team, right?
Yeah, for good numbers. Yeah, I mean, we were actually missing quite a few. I mean, just with injuries, guys that were actually probably big point scores for us. But yeah, I was really happy with our guys showing up and the rest on that. We've hit, all spring. We've had great numbers in the room. So biggest we've ever had over the last few years. So very excited about that group and did very well. I mean, I think we had they're 7th overall as a club. That's Greco juniors, Greco 16 or 16U, and then freestyle 16U and freestyle juniors. It's the whole thing. So I was pretty happy.
I put the all the finishes in the comments there for you guys, so you kind of see who plays
Oh,
where
yeah.
and stuff. We had
We were talking earlier. Last year the club finished 30th.
Yeah, something like that. Real low. Yeah. And I take that back. I'm sorry. We finished 7th in freestyle. Greco, I think we finished quite a bit lower than that, but we didn't really bring a big group.
We had 4 placers.
No one counts Greco.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I base our success on freestyle. I mean, I do just because that's what we train. You know, we touch on Greco a little bit. We don't really dive into it. So, but no, our guys did a great job. I was really pleased. I mean, Jake James did a phenomenal job. He ended up winning it at heavyweight, and then Miles Preston did a phenomenal job. That's on the 16U level. You guys did a great job. Those are our 2 champs. Davis Henritze had in the junior side of things. Davis Henritze had a heck of a tournament. Yeah. I think he got 4 wins, 10-0 wins to get in the finals. They just ran into a guy that might be pound for pound the best guy in the state. Walker Shirley did a phenomenal job, and we lost that in the finals. I believe he's the only one we had in the finals at the junior level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But obviously, we had Derek Bush out. We had Brady Hand's out. Brady Hand's 9th in the country at his weight, so that hurt us quite a bit. Those guys are kind of recovering from injuries. So, but yeah, it was good. I was pretty happy.
Stoley Robeson said 5-point throws rock. So go Greco, she said.
Looking at some of these names, I mean, you've got a lot of Roanoke Valley schools covered.
Right, yeah.
Talk about how the diversity of having different schools represented at Noke.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I mean, just look at Glenver, obviously,
Glenver, Cave Spring,
Cave Spring,
Bird.
Williamburg, North Botetourt,
Blacksburg.
Blacksburg,
Yeah.
Blacksburg's been really good to us. James
Glenver.
Yeah, James River's in
Yeah,
there.
James River, yep. So
Glenver.
yeah, Glenver. That was my first one. So, and then there's some other Hidden Valley has kids that come over from time to time. I know
Liberty.
Patrick Henry,
Liberty.
Liberty in Bedford.
Yeah.
And then we have Rockbridge County kids come down. I know we have Giles County kids coming over. They just started a program a couple years ago, and we have a couple kids that come down to the club, and so so it's been good. We got some Christian Bird kids that come in time to time. So
It's the beauty of not being really attached to a high school,
Yeah.
because you're if anything, we're trying to recruit the kids for college, not steal them from. That's kind of sometimes the stipulation between high schools, he's going to steal them, all that kind of stuff, especially old school Virginia. That's how it is, But for us, it's nice that the worst case you get recruited for us, which we like.
When you created the RTC, is this the vision you had?
yeah, I did. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. There were just several reasons behind it. And one, obviously, was to help build a fan base and improve wrestling in this area to where wrestling's important. Number 2, selfishly, was obviously for recruiting purposes. Hopefully, get the level up to where it needs to be, and then we can recruit some of those kids. And it's easy transition to run a college. 3, selfishly for my kids. I want my kids to have a good club to train at, and State River too. We have kids that come over State River. I don't want to leave them out. Sorry. And then the fourth reason was to we really early on we didn't have being a new program. This is the first year we really have a lot of alumni.
Mm-hmm.
They're young, right? They're just getting into their jobs, and so one of the reasons I wanted to build a donor base, to be honest with you, and people that had some vested interest in our program. And we've been very, very fortunate that we have a lot of people on board for that. So, so there's a lot of reasons. It's worked out it's worked out better than I even expected, to be honest with you. So school has been done a fantastic job being on board with it. That's the first step. And then we went out and hired great coaches. Matt Hand does a phenomenal job. I tried for years to get Matt to take over, and finally got him last year. And Reed Carpenter's done a phenomenal job at the youth level. Before him, we had a guy.
Some bum. It's kind of
The guy we couldn't wait to get rid of.
Jake the Ball, Coach Jake. Which obviously Jake, was the first guy to get the little guys going. And, great. And now, like a lot of those kids are starting to trickle up to the middle school and the high school. Eventually, the high school. I think next year we'll have our first, or 2 years we'll have our first group of that group going to the high school level. So we have a great core group of beginners this year. Actually, like 5 kids who really this past year is their first year wrestling that are really into it, and they are like dialed into practice. I'm very, very excited to see that group kind of continue to get better and grow and get to the middle school and high school level. And that's years down the road, but I'm excited about it. So it's good.
Yes. All right. So, club, let's just go to a quick commercial here, and then we'll come back and we will do maybe a schedule preview for us.
Let's get
A quick one.
I heard you died twice. Once when they bury you in the grave, and the second time is the last time somebody mentions your name. So when I leave here on this earth, did I take more than I gave? Did I look out for the people, or did I do it all for fame? Legend is exodus, searching for euphoria, judging through the mud to find the present, no ignoring us. 20,000 deep up in the street like we some warriors. My mama told me never bow your head.
I feel glorious, glorious. Got a chance to start again. I was born for this, born for this. So I
As you can see, I'm pretty mad in my
I
opinion.
made it through the darkest part of the night, and now I see
And y'all are family.
sunrise. Now I feel
That's a wrap. 2024, Noke Team Camp.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to episode 59, State of the Program. So, Coach, schedule preview, maybe?
I'll give you just a little
glimpse.
this year. We pretty much finalized it, so we're pretty much done with it. A couple big changes, and I'm just going to talk a little bit real quick about our home duels. So we got some home duels I'm really excited about. So, the first one we'll have, we got our ODAC matches, of course. We have Washington Lee at home this year, and that's actually we usually have that first semester. We've actually moved it to this last week of the season, just because I do think they're going to have a really good team next year. So, and obviously, I think we're going to be very, very strong as well too. So, that is an opportunity to be pretty exciting dual meet. So we'll have that at home. I'm excited about that in February. And then we tried to space duels out a little bit better this year. So we have a dual meet, at least one dual meet every month of the season. So November, I think we open up with
Southern Virginia,
Southern Virginia. Yep. The home match.
along with obviously Southeast Open.
Yep, Southeast Open. The tournament will be hosted again on a Sunday, November 2nd. Stay away from I think there's a hokey football game that Saturday. And then we're actually going back up north. This time we're going up to Vermont. So the Russell Castle and Stevens. Right, those are both great duels last year. And then in December we're wrestling. We're going to Randolph. Randolph's going to our place. I'm sorry. And mid December before Christmas, and then in January the Mill Mountain match we get to wrestle Marymount. They're coming down to do us for the match at the Mill Mountain Theater again. Coach Roy Hill's did a phenomenal job up there, and I'm excited to get those guys down.
Roy's been everywhere.
He has been everywhere, man. He was reffing this weekend.
Was he really?
And I was like, oh man, holy smokes. I gotta step my game up. So, he's like retired. He's like
I know,
retired
he's
educator.
good.
Yeah.
Like, he was a coach when I was wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, he's
He did a good job with those guys. Those guys are scrappy. So I'm excited. I'm excited they're coming down. So I want to obviously get some new people on the schedule. And then we got what I'm really excited about in the very first part of January is Wisconsin New Clarence coming down to duels. So they'll start off the year top 10 in the country. And we at that point I think we'll be top 10 in the country as well too. So that'd be an unbelievable duel. It's on a Sunday too, so we're hoping to pack the gym for that one. So, so that's kind of I don't want to give away too much, but we got a really big one the second weekend in January. I won't give it away until the schedule release, but it's gonna be a fun year. So we get a bunch of different stuff this year.
Yeah, good fundraisers too.
Yeah. Just fundraisers. We're going to continue to build what we did last year and this year. We'll have the fall fund drive again. That coincides with the we'll have the cornhole tournament as well. Last year obviously got
Pray
rained
for
out.
no rain.
Yeah, really, that's terrible. So
Hurricane more than rain.
yeah, really, that's pretty bad. Yeah, so we had that, and then we're going we all that, and then mid season we'll have the polar plunge again. That's always a fun one. So
Yep.
this year I think we'll end with the polar plunge, and then the guys go home for Christmas break right after that, I believe, and then we'll finish up in the spring with the alumni weekend. We got a pretty fun thing planned. We're going to go Friday. We had our first Founders Club induction ceremony this year. We're going to do that again next year on a Friday. Saturday morning, we plan on doing a RTC golf outing, which we're going to add that next year. And then we'll have the casino night that night. And then Sunday morning-ish, we'll have the our banquet again, the awards banquet again. So that'd be a pretty fun weekend as well too. So
Because to get your golf teams ready.
that's right.
Ready.
That's right. Yeah. So so it's gonna be. I mean, again, some changes next year, but I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Any potential to have a Roanoke College wrestling tailgate for the upcoming football games?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
every home, just about every home game we plan on having a tailgate. So stop
Yeah,
on
4
by.
or 5 this year. I think
Okay.
4 or 5. They've
Yep.
released their schedule.
I think there's one weekend we won't, and I think that's there's something else going on. I looked at the schedule, and I think we're out of town for tournament, but I think we're definitely going to do tailgate every big recruiting opportunity for us.
Yeah.
So bring kids on campus, and it'll be a lot of fun. We'll probably have an open workout. People come watch. Work on something. Maybe we're not going to bring back inter squad match at the beginning of the year, but it'll be something like that.
Mhm.
A couple or pretty early into October, like probably mid-October. Again, it won't be around the inter squad. I want to make that perfectly clear right now, because sometimes you have an inter squad, they're like, oh, he must be the starter. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's just for matches, right? So I got some hopefully fun planned here for that as well too. So,
Sounds like a fun year.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of
Yep.
fun things.
great
going
group,
on.
a great freshman class coming in, like I said, great returners, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so you've got a full steam ahead, like heading into the summer, like summer camps.
Yeah, summer camps, they're rocking and rolling right now. I mean, I think we're gonna sell out. We're real close to pace to sell out. So we'll kick off the campus July 6th, and we go all the way to the 13th. The 10th to the 13th is obviously our big one. That's our Noke team camp. I think we have 28 teams, 29 teams committed right now. Hoping for our goal is 32, right?
Wow.
So, so it's going really well. I can't, think we're going in the right direction.
Halfway sold out pretty much all individual camps, development,
Developmental
intensive.
camp is technique camp.
Yeah.
With the high school and youth for that, and then we'll have the our high school intensive camp, which we're allowed 60, and we're going to split the camp in half. One's going to be elite kids, the other one's going to be high school kids that are very similar camps, and then we have our middle school intensive camp as well too, just specifically designed for middle school kids. So
Along with some E2W World Tour camps, right?
Yeah.
So we got a new system, E2W, to expect to win. We'll have a couple camps.
We used to have the state champ boot camp
Yep.
series, and we kind of did away with it a little bit, but we're bringing it back. We're going we're kind of rebranding it to kind of our slogan, which is expect to win, and so we're calling it E2W camps.
We gonna get a T-shirt release for that?
Yeah, we got some. We got kind of a
Great idea.
really good idea, like a vintage kind of tee, like a little stonewash tee with some old school wrestlers, and then kind of a world tour, like a band tee on the back. So it should be pretty cool. Yeah, this will be coming out soon. I've been working on them.
So many coaches out there are interested, in bringing us in. This summer is looking pretty full. We probably could do some stuff, either maybe early June or maybe even in early September.
Yeah.
Or maybe in August, maybe a little bit, but we're pretty slammed right now. So, but excited to hopefully keep building that up.
Yeah, come out to team camp, coaches. We got a coffee bar this year. So
Yeah, coffee bar. We got
Coffee
some
bar.
Mondays planned.
Yeah. Come on
Come
out.
see the locals. Usually bringing somebody a big name, and what better guy to bring in this year than Marcus Samuel?
Yeah.
He's going to do this.
National
The
championship.
star clinician. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up
Yeah.
this episode 50. Episode 59, and you just make sure you guys do take some time off during the summer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. we got big trip plans,
Yeah.
vacations plans. So
Yeah.
can't believe it's the 59 episodes already. That's wild.
It's man.
Yeah, we'll do one more, obviously, the commitment post, and then that'll kind of be a little summer break, probably again until team camp or so.
Yeah. So the next podcast, we're going to
Yeah.
really cover down on the commits. So
Yeah, I have a couple of our incoming guys jump on for
Yeah, that'd be
a couple
great.
questions and stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys be thinking ahead of time some questions for those guys.